Dave Scott back with Justin from Elevation Homes. And Justin, this week, I kind of want to take a break from the hammers and the saws and the nails and talk about the elevation experience for customers. I mean, I think from what I know of you, you're a great guy as far as customer relationship goes. And I know that's really important. And if I was going to get somebody to build a home, I want to meet the guy. I want to get to know you first. How important is that in a relationship that you build when you're building somebody a new home or going in to do a big reno? You got to get to know your customer, right?
Yeah, it's one of those things that and I think we all know, like in this life, hopefully by now, anybody that's listening probably is over 14 years old, but
I don't know. Our content's pretty weak.
Yeah, most of us have kind of gained the knowledge that that our relationships are probably the most valuable thing that we're going to do in this life. Whether those relationships are the good ones or the bad ones, however they pan out, it's pretty much going to dictate almost every outcome that you're going to have. And I mean, I've been pretty aware of that for a while, not just in business, but just in everything I've ever done. So I'm a big I'm a big guy in terms of really getting almost like I don't know how to articulate it correctly, but you're almost going there for an interview. And to try to get almost a bit of the psychology of what is happening in that household versus the way that you do things, whether that's going to work. And and there's all kinds of factors, as we know. I mean, and none of it is makes a decision based on whether I'm going to work with you or whether we're not going to work with you. But I mean, just as much as the customer wants to interview me, I mean, I want to do the same. I mean, I don't want to end up with an incompatible personality or something that's not going to jive. That's 3 weeks into it, we're going to end up butting heads and that sort of thing. And I can work with a lot of different personalities and so on and so forth. I typically can kind of find the reason in a lot of these situations, or at least explain it out. But I mean, for us, I find and even my guys too, and I kind of preach this to them, is you really just have to get the knowledge out to them in a way that obviously they're going to understand, whether you have to use technical terms, whether you have to use layman's terms, whether you have to use analogies, whatever it has to be. I mean, even when I have these inspectors over and they're looking at stuff that we've done, and maybe we've had to do something slightly askew from what the actual engineer or the architect has done to make it physically work in the real world. And I'm very grateful that I have the architectural and the technical background to have a rebuttal for some of these questions, because they want to hear technical business. A customer wants, in most cases, they want to hear what's the layman's version of all these numbers and letters that you're talking about? Like, when do I get the pillows on my bed, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And so I mean, for me, I want to get there, and most often, in fact, I had a really good one last night, an appointment down in Simcoe here, and we talked nothing about building. I mean, I went there for, well, what it seemed like is a tea time. Like we didn't talk about the damn job at all.
And I want to reference one point you brought up a few weeks ago, and I don't know, I remember you saying that you're out, you finished the job, but then you'd promise these folks you'd get started on the next job, and it was late in the day, but you still went there anyway. I mean, to me, that seems like you're a dedicated guy to your profession. You understand, when you make a commitment, you want to try and keep it as reasonable as you can, but also fulfill your commitment to them. Is that what you base a lot of your stuff on?
I really don't want to let people down, at least in some way, shape, or form. I mean, maybe if we're not starting your job on the day we said, at least we can show up, do a little site visit, get it back in everybody's in everybody's head, just to show that you're showing up for, you know what I mean?
Right.
There is, don't get me wrong, there's no perfection here. There's many times I've said that I've been able to start in this week and it's been a month later. But,
Yeah.
but in that month delay, there's no harm in going over for a couple hours and sort of, getting reiterated with the job. And so that at least people know that, it's starting to get in your head, and you're still thinking about them. I mean, because I find a lot of contractors, they just, they'll literally, blow the contact or blow the relationship, physically out of busyness, and I get that, but sometimes you just put another half an hour into an email, or we just drive there and show up and just do a little walk around. Maybe we walked around it 30 times. Maybe we need to do it 31, right? Just to make sure that everybody is still on board with the relationship, never mind the job, right?
So in your customer relationship situations, this is one I wanted to throw at you. And you come across a person with a partner, male, female, whatever.
Oh, I got it.
And there's two different opinions, and you're trying to be the guy that brings it together. I mean, you're basically a family psychiatrist at that point. You're trying to meld these two ideas into one, but at the same time, not start any sidebar conflicts. Is that? I mean, you must come across that a lot.
Oh yeah, it's the domestics are very real, and they happen right in front of me, like right in front of my and certain people, there's no holds barred on that situation. They just, if they don't like that color of tile, holy shit, they will tell you.
So, but when you're going in early, that's part of that 31 visits, to smooth those things over, to make sure those small cracks are fixed before you get in there and do the big work, right? Because that's the last thing you want is, I thought the shower was going over here, right? Yeah. That's the last thing you need.
And I know, and especially from repetitive, sometimes, and believe it or not, I don't, just because we have a difficult time with a certain decision or whatever, it doesn't dictate anything necessarily going forward. I have some difficult customers that we've done many jobs over decades, but I know at that point, even after the first one going in, we're going to have, there's going to be some battles between the husband and wife. There's going to be some battles between my suppliers and the customers, maybe. And chances are we're going to install it and take it back out and put it back in again. Right. But,
wow.
But, it's the more you can smooth, like you say, prior, some things are just not going to work out that way, but the more things you can smooth prior, and my wife gets on to me all the time because they're like, how come, she's like, I'm not home at 9 o'clock at night again, whilst I'm at another appointment just trying to dial in a handful more things. But I don't know. I just think, for my customers, and even when I do, our investment real estate stuff, so even my lenders and whatnot, with sometimes, that fifth or sixth time they ask you to come to that poker game, I got to get to that poker game, and we got to do those talks, and that, even if we're not talking about our investments or whatever, I got to get there, and there's only so many times that I can, it's not that I didn't want to go, I'd love to go, but never have the time.
Yeah.
You just gotta just put that extra 45 minutes in and do it.
When you're a business owner, it's 24/7, but we should do one of these days. I'm just going to have your wife on the show, and then we'll find out the real truth behind Justin and Elevation Homes. God. We'll find about the Elevation Home experience from Mrs. Justin.
Won't be good.
It won't. I'm sure she's a saint. Come on now. Oh, yeah. She's a wonderful woman.
It's all right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, my wife, honestly, there's no way I could do a quarter of the stuff that I do business-wise or personally, without her here. And she's a stay-at-home mom for a reason. It's not, she never stays home, but there's no way I could have her. She essentially works with me, from time to time, but there's absolutely no way that she could have she gets asked all the time, why don't you if you have this spare time or this spare time, why don't you go back? I mean, she's very good at a lot of skills. She used to be in real estate herself, but there's no way I could do my deal without her.
It's part of a team. The same with me and my wife. I mean, I'd be lost without her with the work I do, because it's important that aspect in your relationship from a professional and a marriage point of view.
Yeah.
Look at us. We're giving marriage advice now. Yeah. This is not good. Yeah. This is only going to go downhill.
No, it's like,
all right, we better stop while we're ahead.
The tangent.
So sum it up for me. One line. Why is customer service so important to Justin?
I'd say because I want the longevity of the relationship with 99% of the people that I meet. I want it. I don't want it to be the last one. That's all. I mean, we want to do this for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. And I'm pretty proud to say that, I mean, I have probably 20 to 25 customers that are almost span my entire building career.
That's cool.
Like from 17 to 42.
That's cool. And that shows loyalty to the brand and the quality of work that you guys are doing. Listen, I know it's Friday morning. Have a great weekend, man. Yep. Take care. It's great to see you.
Thanks very much, Dave.